Right, hello guys, you're watching the Geeks and More Table talking about Stranger Things Season 3. First time watching and reviewing. We talked about the other seasons, so check them out if you haven't already. Let's go, Season 3. First time watching. So, this series, I'm just going to be really honest with you guys, as I'm new to this universe. The weakest of the series so far. What? So yeah, it's the first time me gonna be a bit negative to the franchise. Um, yeah, I thought this was the weakest one I've watched out of the 3 seasons so far, and it really just made me not. It took me a while to even get invested in this series, which was crazy because I was like, season 2 is my favorite series. Spoilers for that. Check the review out. But like, season 2 was like, yeah, this was so good, and then we've come to this, and I'm like, ah. Yeah, so we focus on a lot of different characters this season, and I feel like I've remembered a few more characters' names, so I'm a bit more with it, which is good. So we're just gonna try and label a few characters off and go from there. Lucas, finally know his name for the first time, guys. Give me a clap. Yeah, he didn't really do much. He had things with Max. He played a few jokes. He tried to help the team out a bit. He just had things for Max, and that was it. That was his character. Done. His little sister had more character development than him, which is crazy. Should we get onto the sister? I thought the sister for Lucas was really fun, and the comic relief really worked. And her not admitting she's kind of a bit of a geek, and definitely towards the end when she gets the Dungeons and Dragons box set, like the game, she has a little smirk to show, yeah, she's a bit of a geek. So yeah, I thought she was a great addition with the helping out against the Russians and stuff, and the bribery with all the ice cream was great. So yeah, should we get on to that plot a little bit with some of the characters? So, Dustin. Dustin has a girlfriend. What? I even didn't believe it. You know, I was thinking maybe imagination. Um, I can't lie, I was starting to doubt it myself. But no, he had a girlfriend, and it's "Turn Around." Yeah, that song. Um, which is a good song, to be fair. But that's funny when Max and Lucas are teasing Justin at the end there. That was great. That was made it worthwhile, I felt. But yeah, it turns out Lucas's girlfriend helped save the world with knowing the equation. So it was a key thing to the plot, so fair plays there. Yeah, Dustin was great comic relief yet again, but he really did help that Russian plot along so well. Obviously, finding the information, giving it to Steve, and then going off there, and even rescuing Steve and Robin later on, which was great. So I think he was a brilliant contender as a character, and like I just enjoy him every series. He's just great. So more of Dustin, the better, I say. Next up, Steve. Yes, Steve is absolutely brilliant as always. However, this series does some problems. Um, and one of them is to Steve. I feel that they've dumbed Steve down too much. He was great in season 1. He was great in season 2. He's good in this, but he's a lot more dumb. And they're really playing on that. And they're making him more dumb, which I'm not a fan of. Like, I think I don't know. Like, it's justified when he's had the drug and he's giggling with Robin and stuff like that. That's justified. But the way that otherwise, I don't know. I just feel like, have I been missing this? But I feel like this series has written him off a bit bad, in my opinion. But I did like the dynamic of him falling for Robin and stuff, and then finding out about, we'll get onto it in a minute, but him supporting her and still being a friend and stuff, which is great. So I do enjoy Steve, and I like that he literally destroyed Billy's car at the end there because like they have rivalry. Next up is Robin. Now Robin is a new character, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm Team Robin all the way. She is one of my favorite characters from this show. Now I absolutely loved her personality, fun, and yeah, she's very, very good. And obviously, she comes out to Steve later on as well. So there's the whole thing there. And I thought she was great with the whole Russian plot was just the best thing from this series. That is my opinion. Like the Russian plot, and I actually connecting with um the our main up and down creature. You know that sort of vibe. It actually tied in quite nicely because the Russians were building this thing to open that crack, which we closed last time by 11, and yeah, this is why the creatures managed to have the power. Shall we get onto that now? The creature. So from the Russians opening that up and stuff, this creature has now been able to get into our world a bit more. It's been a little bit of it left from last season, and it connects to Billy. Now, then it creates an army, but it turns out the army's just so it can feed and get bigger, and then it comes after 11 because 11's really strong. It needs to take her out of the equation, and if it gets 11's powers, it would be unstoppable. And that's kind of the gist and the gimmick. Of course, as soon as we close the crack again, the villain fades until we get an end credit scene, which I didn't even think about until suddenly there was like this little flash in the credits. And I was like, are we getting an end credit scene? And we did, and it's the creature back, and the Russians are like feeding prisoners to it. So, oh. Also, it going in 11's leg was really gross and cool. I thought that really worked. And the villain looked a bit like Venom. I'm not gonna lie. He got a bit of Venom vibes. Another thing was obviously I'm trying to link back now. With all that going on, we have the police guy, who I still not specifically know his name, and now he did the sacrifice. He died at the end. Oh, we need to get to Billy because that's connected to the Russian plot and stuff. So yeah, the creature possessing Billy. I don't get how Billy survived when it was taking out all the. It was absorbing all the army, I guess you could say. How did Billy survive that? Because it must have thought, oh, Billy's useful. We'll keep that one going. That's the only explanation I can think of. But Billy in this series being possessed, but also 11 getting in his head and seeing the backstory of Billy. We kind of got hints of it from season 2, so it was a bit more like, okay, we know this already. But seeing it visually, it really tried to make you connect and feel to Billy, and I thought it worked quite well and shown why he is how he is, you know. So that was all great, and then Billy dies at the end, so that's the sad thing for Max. But yeah, I thought they did him well. I still never really liked his character, but yeah, the noble sacrifice, saving 11 at the end there, doing some good and saying sorry to Max, was really well done. Next up we have trying to get back. Oh yeah, the police guy who I never know the name of. Um, he's in the Thunderbolts for Marvel and stuff like that. Yeah, 11's I guess dad. He dies in this as well. He's kind of caught in the blast, but he's against this Terminator looking Arnold Schwarzenegger sort of character. This character's been after him for a long while. They finally have the fight, but then he gets trapped between the machine as it needs to be boomed to stop the villain. Close the portal, close the crack, you know, that sort of thing. So we do lose him at the end, but this is going to be controversial. I loved him in season 1, loved him in season 2, didn't like his character in this series. Yet again, another character trashed, in my opinion, in series 3. The way he was acting throughout this whole series and being very angry, aggressive, and stuff, I really didn't enjoy that. I thought that was a really bad thing for the show to be doing. They did give him a nice, like, 11 reading the notes of what he really felt like at the end there, but it made me not like his character as much. So yeah, it was still. I was sad that he's sacrificing himself at the end there, but yeah, they've tarnished his character a little bit for me in this series. So controversial. The mom just helps him along the way, and there's a fun little gimmick thing with that clever dude, but then that guy gets shot in the circus scene. So yeah, a lot of references to Back to the Future and Star Wars and Terminator, all sorts of things again in this series. So interesting. And did they have a promotion for Coke? Because I kept seeing Coke everywhere. and then they really tried to use it in the plot. So, and even when Lucas was drinking it, they were trying to talk about it. So I felt like they had a promotion with Coke. I don't know, or was it just a really big thing in the 80s? I don't know, but yeah. The Back to the Future stuff in the cinema was really cool. I like that. That was decent. And we actually getting to see clips and stuff. That was great. And then them ripping on the plot of it was brilliant as well, to be fair. Next up we have who else? Oh yes, another character they tarnished and trashed, in my opinion. Season one, and I loved Mike. I loved Mike, and then season two, he's helping Will out, being a good friend. He couldn't really do much, but he was still decent. In this, 11, oh, 11, oh, 11, oh. He's just pining after 11, 11. He was a badass in season one. And then season two was like, oh, fair enough, he's helping his friend. He was a leader, he was a group. Now he's just pining after 11, 11, 11. Oh, sad times. And then mooching, kissing. They broke up. That was what this series felt like. Sloppy, just relationships of Max and Lucas, 11 and Mike, the detective guy and the mom. It's just lovey-dovey. Oh, we get on to Nancy and the other guy who I can't stand. But yeah. And then obviously the Robin and Steve dynamic, which didn't really, they were friends at the end, but you know, there was a lot of lovey-dovey stuff in this season, in my opinion. I don't know. But yeah, it really tarnished his character just being moping after her, and I guess having the stereotypical boy ripping on girl trope, I guess, in this series, which ruined his character, in my opinion. Who else are we missing? Oh yes, Will. Will's still struggling with his sexuality a bit. They hinted on that season one, hinted on that season two, and they've hinted at it here. Other than that, he doesn't want to let go of his childhood, and he wants to just play D&D and be a child still, while the others are still moving on with relationships, and that's kind of his character. He doesn't really do much in this, which he's there is fair enough. That's it really. That's where our characters are all at. Am I missing anyone? I don't think so. Yeah. So plot wise, I really enjoyed the Russian stuff when it connected with the upside down sort of creature and stuff. It worked really well. The last 3 episodes were actually pretty decent, but when you've watched the other 5 episodes, I wasn't a fan. I was dragging, and I was like, you know. But I loved it in season two, so it just felt a massive decline for me, and that's a shame. So yeah, I say I feel like the ending kind of satisfied me a lot more, but still, obviously they're moving away. That's interesting. Well, we're gonna go with that next season. So yeah, 5 or 6 out of 10. I'm going to say this ending might have saved it a little bit, so I'm going to give this a generous 6 out of 10, which 5 is average, 6 is good. So it gets a 6 out of 10. But when you compare it to my reviews of season 1 and 2, it's dropped massively. Check them reviews out. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Of course, we'll talk about season 4 for the first time next week, so stay tuned for that and my honest opinions on that. Yeah, that's all I've got to say on this series, guys. Let me know your thoughts down below. Of course, we don't just talk about Stranger Things. We do Marvel, Doctor Who, Star Wars, DC, you name it. We're supposed to be for geek like me. Join, subscribe. See you guys in another video soon. Have a nice day.